there's a couple things that I believe we want to make sure we're getting out of this time. One is that I want to make sure we've covered is going to be it's exposing where we have inefficiencies or inadequacies or where we're weak. So we have to become extremely and myopically aware of those areas because now's the time for us to correct those things. Otherwise, we'll just see our clinics and our lives slip too much. And by lives, it's, obviously all of us have to go home to right now in an environment that's a little funky. As I do this, like probably many of you, my kids are on the other side of the door with my wife going to school in our kitchen. Not something that we've been accustomed to. So, we're having to adapt in a lot of areas and find out, where are we weak? Where are we inadequate? Where do we need some work? Because the goal of all this is to get better. I think there are a lot of people that are getting worse. A lot of people, their approach was really exposed. I've got my son's car because my son's moved to Colorado for his first job. So we're selling his car because he got a company car. And a guy came to look at the car yesterday and actually bought the car, who came up in his Mercedes. And my son's car looks like a crime was committed inside and out of it. He took such bad care of it. But so I'm thinking, this guy is pulling up in his Mercedes, dressed really nice. Well, he has been exposed. The business he had is not recession proof. So he lost everything. He lost his entire life savings, lost his business. So he's got to let his car get repoed, this Mercedes, and buy my son's really ugly looking beat up car because he's going to use it to do Uber Eats. So because he knows a buddy that does $200-300 a day in Uber Eats, and that would be phenomenal for him to be able to make $1,000 a week and feed his family. So he got exposed. The business he had was not a good business to be in. And what's interesting, what I really love about this guy, we've kind of gotten to be friends. He's come by a couple of times. And of course, we stay 6 feet apart as he does it. But we've become friends because I love his attitude. His attitude is, I chose a business that was not recession proof. And so I'm going to learn how to become better. And I'm going to choose a business the next time with my Uber Eats money that is going to be able to withstand times like this. And so I love that. He doesn't have a defeatist attitude. He smiles. I mean, God knows what he's been through to lose everything. He's got children at home, losing. I mean, somebody like that is dressed nice. The Mercedes obviously really cares about his appearance. Now he's going to have to drive this beater, this hoopty, as they used to call it. This is what this guy's got to move to, but yet he's positive. Like, I'm going to learn how to be better. And so I was talking with a couple doctors this morning, and we're sort of exposed in that we've not really done a good job curating a list of text messages and a database of emails of all of the patients we've been seeing over 5, 10, 20 years, where we should have a massive database of emails and texts that we should have been communicating with every single week, or at least every other week, about our events, about chiropractic, about what's coming up, our next offer, why you should come back, because that's right now, people that have those lists. I've got a client who texted me this morning. He made $18,000 through a reactivation campaign that he received. He made $18,000 yesterday, the reactivation campaign that was done through text, because he's got everybody's text, got their emails. He stayed in constant communication. So when he sent out his COVID offer, which is something, I helped him sort of craft and write out, and it hasn't ended. He's just had, it's from the first group of people coming through this reactivation campaign, but that's because he's got his act together when it comes to communicating to his people. So that for a lot of us, we're simply exposed there. It's not time to pout or be kicking yourself, but it is time to gather your database, to put a system together and make sure you are communicating on a regular basis. The other part, I think, that got exposed for a lot of us, and this goes back to, I love what Dr. David started with. So when Dr. Dave and I began this thing, and he may be a little bit before me, the only voice of reason about what you should be doing with your health was a chiropractor. There wasn't a social media. There wasn't any internet. There was no wellness people. There was no Dr. Oz. there was either take drugs and get vaccinated, or there was chiropractors telling the truth. That was it. So the entire responsibility for the world's well-being, for their future and of them and their children, was that a chiropractor would tell them the truth and do it aggressively and consistently and boldly. You had chiropractors driving around with cars, they were in hearses with big needles at the top of their hearse, and on the side it says, drugs kill whether pushed or prescribed, because they had to stand out. We're the only one with the right message. We're the only one with the truth. God has put us as watchmen on the wall and watchwomen to warn the people about the disease and dysfunction that's out there, as well as what the danger of the cure. It was up to us. And we went out there and we had to fight through a lot of things, a lot of ignorance, a lot of aggressive behavior against us, a lot of people just lashing back because they just didn't understand. And we told the truth and built huge practices. And we knew it was up to us. Everybody's life was up to us. And I think now we've sort of gotten weak, because you do have Mercola, you have the internet, you got social media, you've got wellness people, you got CrossFit, you got supplement companies talking about natural health. So we've sort of said, well, it's not really up to us. We're just kind of another message or part of the message. But now I look at what's happening today, and the only solution to an infection is hide in your house. That's not building your immune system. That's not preparing you for the fact that we know that in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to get exposed to this virus or whatever mutation thereof. Is your immune system ready? Is your nervous system healthy? Is your body working and ready to manage that? I went to Costco with my wife. We didn't wear a mask. It's like, bring it, like I'm ready, for it. And I can't hide from it. At some point, I'm going to get exposed. So, whether it's going to be 3 or 4 days of a bad cold, or whether, more than likely I don't express any symptoms at all, I get adjusted, I lead a chiropractic lifestyle. My family's ready for this time. And I wanted to stand up in the middle of Costco to all the people that were walking around in fear, and they're directing us to this little yellow path. We're there for 2 hours to get some fruit, and tell people, listen, get adjusted, go to the chiropractor. That's the solution. Over the next 3 years, the only way out of this is to empower the host, is to build up your strength and your immunity so that you're ready for the world, just like you needed to be ready all along. Get to your chiropractor, learn what it takes to be healthy, get adjusted. That's the answer to a new and better world, where we're not so worried about, whatever the latest non-seeable entity that exists that's out there. God made man to fill, subdue, and rule, not viruses, bacteria, parasites, or whatever. He made us, but we have to strengthen ourselves. We have to align our spines and our lifestyles with God's intentions, and we'll be just fine as an individual and as a community and as a world. But only we will educate people through this. My first call this morning was a doctor panicked and literally mapping out moving his family to Belize to flee the future of forced vaccination and all these things. And some, likely that's coming. They're going to try to force vaccination, try to rule us or control us on another level. So the problem is Belize probably will do the same thing. However, there's one way we might win. Principled chiropractors, revolutionaries like Dr. David, Dr. Kevin were just sharing, revolutionaries that teach people the truth so that enough people won't stand for it, enough people will question it. If that's going to happen, it's going to come from us. We can't rely on Dr. Mercola. We can't rely on the naturopaths or the vaccine, or the supplement manufacturers. It's going to come from us. And enough people will say, no, not me, not my house. We're going to take care of our bodies. We're not going to vaccinate our bodies or take your drugs or live according to rules we don't believe in. But there needs to be enough people behind that for us to win, because I'll take that group of people speaking the truth, who know Jesus, who has the victory over whatever this satanic strategy is. I'll take that group every time over what the fears are about what might happen in the future. But it's going to be up to us. The clients that are winning right now, and I'll finish with this, and Dr. David, Dr. Kevin, I'll turn it back over to you again. I've got a lot of doctors that are winning right now. People that had great weeks last week, people that had days that have gotten better. Dr. McKenzie had 6 new patients, including a mother with her children who said, I heard chiropractic was good for immunity. That's why I'm here. That is, I mean, my gosh, that's awesome. I mean, that's, again, that's the advantage of right now. Somebody walking in with their family saying, I'm here for my immunity. That didn't happen before this time. That is exciting. That's an exciting moment. And it's just a glimpse of what this profession and this world can be if we do our part. So the doctors that are succeeding right now, they're not sucked into the media. They've not bought into the fear, because it's always bad. The media always sucks. The fear is always there. It's always pro-medical. It's worse, but not that much different. You know, it's kind of the same. It's more of an aggressive problem, but it's the same problem. So the doctors that are succeeding are going, yep, there's that problem still. Yeah, it's a little worse than ever. I guess I better preach louder. I guess I better tell my message more consistently. I guess I better really focus my patients. I guess my staff has to make more phone calls to people about making appointments and not missing. But a lot of doctors haven't lost the beat. They're still the same or better as they were before it started. A lot of doctors are only down 10% or so. They're still seeing new patients. They're still collecting a lot of cash. And in fact, I've talked to a couple people who I'm like, I better not mess this up. They don't seem to know that there's a problem going on. They're just focused, you know, so they're like, yeah, I heard about, you know, there's some infection out there that seems to be worse than normal, but it's kind of the same, right, Dr. Ben? I'm like, yes, you're correct. Like, I'm like, I better not mess this client up. They're killing it. Because they're still so focused on what our job is. And it's just like we started with, we're revolutionaries. We're the only truth that's out there. We're the only ones that are going to preach a message of hope and health and healing. If this world's not going to go crazy now or afterwards, it's going to be you and I.